Let's talk about the three things you must have to solve any math problem. And before I introduce you to these three things, I want you to know that every top math student, strong math student, or crafty and efficient math student uses these three steps, even if they don't know what they're doing. So we're going to take step by step so you can absorb and figure out what you're doing wrong or what you're missing. The first step for any math problem is called pattern recognition. And that is simply, do I know what type of math problem this is? You see, most students that struggle or get decent grades but could do better, this is one of the key levers they can pull to get better math scores faster. When I say pattern recognition, I mean this. If you see something like this, what is the first thing your mind goes to? If your mind's trying to struggle and say, maybe that looks like an equation, but there's some variables and you're not there yet. The top math student looks at this within 1 second, maybe two, and instantly says, this is a two-step equation. Before they whip out the formulas or try to solve the problem, they're identifying the type of problem this is. That's all they care about. So it's the same thing when you're driving along on the road. If your head kind of turns and you lose focus for a second, but out of the corner of your eye, you see a red octagon shape, your brain knows that's a stop sign. It doesn't even have to look directly at it. Your brain knows what that is because you've seen and detected that pattern before. So this is the first step. And if you struggle in math, I want you to go back to the textbook. And before you try to solve any problems and work through formulas, go through 10 problems and just see if you can figure out what pattern or type of problem it is. So that's the first step. The second step, once you identify the pattern, is what formulas and info are required. So let's go back. Once you've identified the type, so let's say we got a really good math student. They pick up right away, this is a two-step equation. They know right away the formula to solve this is just this is the variable. So variable in this case, x equals c minus b over a. They've already narrowed this down. They're at meta thinking. So some of you may try to say, oh, I'm going to add 9, then I'm going to divide by 2. You could do it even faster because all these equations use the same type of solution. So x equals c minus b over a. And they also need to know, obviously, what the variable is. So if this was y, it would be y. But all you really care about for this problem, once you've identified the pattern or the type, is what are the formulas and inputs I need? There's 4. There's a variable, there's a, there's b, and there's c. That's all they care about. Every other piece of extraneous information gets flushed down the toilet. That's step 2. So once you've identified the pattern and you know what formulas, info, and inputs are required, the last step is called check your work. As fast and as good as we may be, sometimes we go a little bit too fast, we miss some signs, we make silly mistakes. And this one's important because there's a lot of you out there that get this right, and you get this right usually, but you don't get this right. So this is called taking yourself out of the game, or in tennis or ping pong, it's called an unforced error. If you ever want to see in life, and not just math, this applies to any skill in life. If you want to get better instantly with the least amount of effort, this is a powerful step to work on. Warren Buffett's partner, and I've talked about this before over and over again, but if you're new to my videos or haven't seen this, I want you to read up on this principle. It's called inversion. And inversion says, instead of trying to figure out what to do right, figure out what you do wrong to hurt your performance and eliminate it. So when they ask Warren Buffett's partner how he's made billions of dollars, this was the first answer he gave. He said, instead of trying to seek brilliance, we avoid stupidity. And there's a lot of things in life that we're stupid about that could hurt us. And I gave you the tennis and the ping pong reference before. There's a huge difference between the pros, so in this case, we could say A math students, and the rest, so B, C, D, F. And there's a great book on this. The title escapes me. I'll put it in the description, but the person that wrote the book talks about the difference between pro tennis players and ping pong players and amateurs, and there's one huge difference. The amateurs give up points, and they give up points by not respecting inversion. They'll hit the ball out of bounds, they'll hit the ball in the net. So it's not that their opponent is beating them, it's that they're beating themselves. They're making unforced errors, silly mistakes to take themselves out of the game. The pro players avoid unforced errors, and they let the rookies and the amateurs make the errors, and they just get free points. So if you've ever seen grading on a curve, if you've ever been in a class where they grade on the curve, and maybe you're here or here, did you ever think that maybe, oh, those students are just A, they're brilliant, they're just better than me? No, a lot of this is some of the people over here, the students, it's that they avoid stupidity. They don't take themselves out of the game. And so step 3 is very important, and it's so simple. It only takes a few seconds. Is just check your work. So for this problem here, let's say we got an answer of 10, right? If you have 5 seconds, you can say 2 times 10 is 20 minus 9 is 11. 11 does not equal 31. So I instantly know I don't have the right answer. Now, what's important about this is, out of all the questions you may get wrong, I guarantee you at least a third or a half is because you're taking yourself out of the game. You got this right, you got this pretty much right, or you nailed this, but you take yourself out of the game. So very important, study up on inversion. Think about all the things you could do to hurt yourself. And it's not just using the wrong formulas. Maybe you lack sleep, you're eating the wrong stuff, you're studying with the wrong people. Think about the best students and what they do, and then secondly, what do they avoid? And then just don't do the stuff that they avoid, and you're already in the game. So quick summary before we shut down this video. First, pattern recognition. I don't care about anything else. If I want to be the best math student possible, the first thing I care about is what type of problem this is. Read a word problem, read an equation, read a trick problem. Do you know the type of problem they're asking for? Here's another example. 98 mod 2. Do you know what that means? What they want is a remainder when I divide 98 mod 2. I'm not going to do the division yet. I don't care about the formulas. In step 1, I just want to know what type of problem this is. If I know the type, I've already climbed half the mountain. The second is, once I define the type of problem, now I need to know what formulas and inputs do I need to solve this problem. And everything else, flush it down the toilet. And then once you get 1 and 2 right, once again, step 3, check your work. Avoid silly, unforced errors that take you out of the game. And I promise you, once you master these 3 steps, there is no math course on earth that's going to stop you from getting the best grades. Thank you for watching.